It's on YouTube, Periscope, all this crap right here.
Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. Now I wanna be the one who always been talking about. You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. Money, 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 make you shut your mouth. Never ever talk about it if you never had the clout. You don't know what to say. Stay up out of my way. Money, 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 make you shut your mouth. You playing with the scooties, boy, I'm gonna have to make a call. Stay in bounds when you play, boy, if you gon' fall. A lot of niggas be fake. You really can't play. We ain't got it out the mud, nigga, what you talking about? Screaming on my God, money got me pride. They live in the lie, look into my eyes, they may seem surprised. This is homicide. We just smoke pride, even on the ride.
It's gonna be on YouTube. I seen my information.
Money, 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 talking about.
It's on. I broadcast simultaneously to YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live, Periscope, and then I gotta download another flash player so I can do IG Live at the same time too.
Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about.
I know some of y'all like the time went forward, but why is at the bar at like 12:30?
You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say.
Because I feel like it. How about that, damn it?
You never crossing these waters.
Come on.
Whipping it up, ordering seat. I swear that I'm cooking these orders. So me, you better just hope that you can just really afford it. I'm balling, I'm winning, I'm feeling like Robert's a horror. Think I'm scoring. I got in the morning. They talk about it, then I gotta ignore it. My bitches be foreign. So independent, my money be corporate. These rappers is boring. You hate me and I'm always gonna adore it. I'm smoking that soaring. She always go ahead and let me explore it. I call it my Dora. You can go talk about me, I ain't flawless. I go for my all in. If you nigga talk about me, then I'm gone in. You know that I'm gone in. Jump in, take tricks, play all day, always keep 3 stacks like 100. I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it, man. And you can never, ever, ever get rid of that. Watch what you say, and watch how you do. If you play the game, if you play by the rules. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. Now I wanna be the one who always been talking about. You don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about.
I think I should be the co-writer of that song because I swear I gave Renegade his first download when he was like 1 year old. I need writer's credit or inspirational credit or something. I really do. I really do. You know, if this song goes double platinum, I just need 40%. You had the rest, just 40%. What's going on? It's At the Bar Radio. It's me, your host, Mr. 151, the best looking man in the comic book cat. You know how it goes. I got some I have an artist, but not the type of artist that y'all would think, which means he's not going to get up here to rap and stuff like that. But if you take a good look, there's some artwork sitting in front of us, and we're going to talk to this young man. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, my name is Vincent Mento. I attend Bowie State University. I'm currently a junior. Been to art my whole life. And yeah, this is one of my prints that I did for original piece that I created not too long ago. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So let's just talk about that. What got you into art? Um,
Honestly, I don't know. It was just one of the moments where I picked up the pencil one day. I'm sitting in the house and I didn't have nothing else to do, and I just decided to try it out. I seen a picture of something and I tried to copy it. I tried to replicate it, and then after doing that, I had so much fun with it that I continued it. And over the years, I've just been working on increasing my skill level and progressing it as much as possible.
cool, cool. You just don't know. Like my handwriting sucks, so for you to be able to draw, like I'm really jealous. Like to be honest, like I could barely read my handwriting, and I wrote it. I was like, I gotta squint. Like, damn, what the hell did I mean? Okay. Um, were you were you inspired by like did you watch like comic books or was it just straight artwork or
For the most part, it started out being stuff in like coloring books. That's the
okay?
funny thing. Like I would copy the things or the images that was in coloring books, and I would try to replicate it. And then it moved on to how-to videos on YouTube. And when we used to have Comcast, I used to watch the how-to videos on there, and I used to try to just replicate everything that I seen. And from there on, I started to gain an interest in realism.
Okay.
So I'm more so a portraiture artist. I can do all kinds of art, but specifically I lean more towards portraiture, and drawing people and landscapes and things like of that nature.
Do you are you one of those people that you have like those weird inspirations? Like when I was rapping and stuff, like I'd wake up like 3 o'clock in the morning and like, damn, I got a verse in my head when other people were asleep.
Yeah, actually, that's the funny thing. I'm actually, I guess I can say nocturnal. That's the word I can use.
Yes.
I feel like I'm more productive at night. So during the daytime, I don't know. My creative flow is still there, but I feel like my best creative flow is usually at night. I could be up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, as you just said, and then I had inspiration just hit me right there at that moment. And as an artist, one thing you're supposed to do, you're always supposed to keep a sketchbook on you at all times.
Yeah.
So and that's something that I live by. I always keep a sketchbook on me because things just hit me at random times.
I mean, that was the funniest thing is that we used to, you know, I always speak about this, but my partner, but God bless him, rest his soul, Black GOP, like we used to do a show 1:30 in the morning. People thought we were crazy. Like, why you? Because, but we had so much buzz because creative people are up at 1:30 in the morning. You're really not asleep.
Yeah.
You got some of your ideas in your head. You know, you just like, I gotta write something down or oh man, this sometimes if I didn't have to work in the morning, I'd be like, yo, you know, I can do a radio show right now with this setup. Just do it right now, just because.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it's a good thing. Um, so you go to Bowie State.
Yes, sir.
So of course we gotta talk about y'all been shut down because of the
Yeah, so we actually was supposed to begin midterms last week, but the funny thing is, we were supposed to go on spring break right afterward, but they gave us an additional 2 weeks, so we're not going back to April 6th because of the virus and everything that's going on.
So how do you plan to spend your extra 2 weeks?
I was just working, nothing but straight art. Right now, I mean, as I previously mentioned, I'm a junior in college, so I'm working on my senior show, my senior art exhibition. So I'm just gonna spend that time creating more work, and for my personal time, and then for my academic sense as well.
Okay. You know what I like about you, sir, is that you're very focused and driven. Because other people, like myself, have probably been partying, hence the name at the bar. Um, it takes a special dedication to really to be into your craft, and then I think that's what a lot of people lack in success, because in order to be successful, you have to be driven, and then you have to sacrifice a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell people this, and I can see you can probably understand this, but I used to tell people, I've never, and I will say this 100 times, I've never owned a pair of Jordans in my life. However, ask me about samplers and equipment and computers or mics, I can tell you the difference between a Shure mic and this and a blue ribbon mic and you know I know those things because that was my passion and that's what you chase.
Right.
Right. I put a post up and I said, it's easy to make. I say it's easy, but you can make a hot song, but you got to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
So you can have the hottest song in the world, but if you're not investing and putting it out there, then it does nothing. So I like the fact that you're very driven by your craft because there's a lot of seniors that's going to wait till their senior year to think about their senior art exhibition.
Yeah, yeah. I've always
And
been like that. I try to keep myself ahead of the game and ahead of everyone else as well. I'm a competitive person, so
you don't like to lose, I can tell.
yeah, I don't. I don't take failure or loss very well.
Man, you sound like you're related to somebody I know. I mean, this person, I swear, she came out there and was like challenging people to jump shots one day. Like we were just trying to have a nice dodgeball game. She got a basketball game, and just a whole new personality came out. I won't say their name, but you can call them Cece. But yeah, I mean, she was just challenging dudes on the court, like, hey, wanna shoot? I got the shot. Like, so very, very competitive spirit.
Oh, yeah, that person sounds very familiar.
Okay. Oh, you might know it too. Okay, cool. Cool. Welcome to the Shade Room, right, y'all. It's at the bar, aka the Shade Room, of the DMV. But so what type of music do you like to listen to, sir?
All kinds of hip hop. Also like to dabble a little bit into like R&B.
Okay.
Yeah, so I try to keep it as diverse as possible.
So give me your top 5 favorite artists right now.
Top 5. I don't know. It's kind of a mix. Probably say Lil Wayne is one of them. Probably say Jay-Z. Next 3. It's a mix.
Dial on. No.
It's just a mix of different people because I like to mix up my playlist and my genre. So
it's your list. Give me your top 5. You gotta explain it. You gonna say it. They're gonna have to deal with it, and that's gonna be life.
All right, well, yeah, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z. I definitely like Migos.
Okay.
Who else? I probably would say I like TLC too.
Okay.
And as well, my last number 5 would be probably Kanye West.
Okay. Do you get turned off as Kanye because when he does his political or his crazy rants?
Oh yeah, definitely. Probably say the older Kanye is definitely better than what he's doing today. His music's definitely changed over the years, and him as a person has definitely changed. But I definitely can say that I like his workflow and the type of lyrics that he puts into his music, though.
Okay, all right, cool. So, definitely.
I definitely can say that I like.
See, this is what happens when you touch your phone, trying to be smooth, and then it takes it off mute. Thank you, iPhone, Apple, you some bastards. But I'm a big fan of Kanye. I mean, Kanye is always, I like his music. It's always related to that. I think the Kids See Ghosts album he did with Kid Cudi was actually a real dope album that a lot of people didn't get. And then I did download his gospel album, but I'm gonna be honest, I ain't listened to it. I just downloaded it because I'm Kanye. I didn't play not one track, to be honest with you, to this day. Like I looked at it, it's like, oh yeah, I got the new Kanye trap music in the shower.
Yeah.
But his older stuff, I will agree though, his older stuff was better. So when you created this piece right here, what made you do it? What was your thought process? Because for us non-artists, like I said, I'm the best at drawing 2 stick men. Like, can't nobody outdraw me with stick people, but when it comes to creating real stuff, I get and I ask you this because I appreciate art. Because if you haven't noticed by the hat and the comic books here, I am a comic book lover.
Sorry.
So I love art, and one of the things that will attract me to a good comic book is the way the art's done. So I always admire that. Like I might know I could never color in the lines. That was too much like work.
Well, initially with my piece, the original piece I created around sometime last year, and my inspiration for it was, I believe it was around Bob Marley's birthday, and I knew I wanted to do something around that just to celebrate his past life and everything, and also too because I'm half Jamaican myself, so I wanted to definitely create something that was around that theme and that concept. So I knew I wanted to do Bob Marley, but I wanted him to be a little bit different, to stand out a little bit. And when you think of a lion, because it's a hybrid piece. It's half Bob Marley, half lion. A lion is the king of the jungle. They're at the top of the food chain. You know, they're the dominant ones, and I wanted to show that, and I wanted to shine a little bit of light on him by showing that he was at the top of his career, and in the reggae music, he couldn't be touched.
Definitely. To this day, he still can't be touched.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. It's so because when you think of lion, you think of two things. You think of they're very majestic, and you think I don't want to mess with them.
Yeah.
And that's a great symbolization.
Yeah.
So.
And after I made the original piece, this is just the print of it. And they're always for sale.
We will get to that one too, but I want to know. I want to know too, like where can they find it, and then you have sold your artwork and stuff like that as well.
Yes, sir. And actually, I just did a piece at the Banneker Douglas Museum. I was commissioned artist for that, lead artist. It was a 15 by 15-foot wall. Yeah, I got paid for that as well.
So understand something. He does great work, and it's not free. I will stress y'all that, because if you want to contact him, if you contact me and be like, "Oh, I like the artist you had on your show," the first thing I'm gonna tell you is, "Are you paying?" Because I'm not gonna get you in contact with him because it's not free. Like, he's an artist, he needs to get paid for his work, and his work is really, really good. By the way, I mean, take a good look at that. Like, that's dope. Like I said, I don't have that type of talent. Now, if you want to set up a podcast, I can set it up in like 5 minutes. But after we draw a picture, that'd be like a 6-hour project, and you get 2 stick figures still. So I'm just keeping it real with myself. I know my limitations. I do not believe I can fly. I know where I need to walk to. So I think so. Where can they find some of your works at, though?
I post a lot of my work on social media. I have a couple of portfolios online. You can go on Behance, just search my name, Vincent Mento. But I'm on Instagram. You can follow me at next_DAVXNCI.
She's speaking too fast, man. Slow it down. Slow it down. I just dissed you. Nah, slow it down. So people so they can catch it.
All right, but yeah, on Instagram, you can follow me at next_DAVXNCI. That's where I post most of my work. I also post on Twitter as well. But yeah, I mean, if you just search, even if you just search my name on either portfolio sites such as Behance or Flickr, you should be able to find me.
Okay.
But most of my work is definitely on Instagram.
Definitely. So what is the piece that you're most proud of that you created?
Probably the mural that I was previously talking about. Finished that a couple weeks ago. I'm most proud of that one.
Okay, and is it pictures on your IG and stuff?
Yep, all on IG.
Oh, cool. Man. So you're doing art, you're doing school, and you got time for the ladies, man.
I got a girlfriend.
See, he's supposed to lie to y'all and be like, "I'm single, let's give y'all hope." I'm trying to get some of y'all hope, maybe auction off a date with him, and he ain't having it.
Get me in trouble.
So how does, because I know when I was an artist, it was always difficult, because somebody's like, "Oh, well, you're always doing this, you're always doing that, like, how does you balance your art life and your love life? Because I think it's something very difficult thing to do.
I will say it's pretty difficult, because with any relationship, it's gonna have its own personal problems.
Yes.
But even as an artist, you're gonna have your own personal problems as well. So I can say it's pretty difficult. But one thing I can say is that with my love life or my girlfriend, she usually motivates me, and she's one of my influencers to continue doing what I'm doing. She was actually in support of me in all of my shows that I've been at.
That is dope. And I was I think I was reading something, or a meme or something I put up. I don't remember, I drink a lot. But something I put up, and it's like, if the person who's supposed to be your significant other is not your biggest fan, then you need another significant other.
Yeah.
And I believe that wholeheartedly. I think if you're having a show and your significant other is not showing up at the show, is not liking your post, or it's not saying, "Oh, congratulations," when you do these things. To me, it's always the small things that matter.
Yep.
So
Definitely.
if you're not going to do those things, like if you're not my biggest cheerleader, then why are we together?
Yeah.
Because vice versa, I would be your biggest cheerleader.
Right.
If you're in the WNBA, even though I may think the WNBA is not great, I would still go to support you.
Right. Right.
So
I can say I definitely agree with them because in a lot of the instances where I've had an auction for one of my pieces or I've had a show for something or even recently this piece that I did or the mural I did at the museum, she actually gave me a lot of inspiration for my pieces because if I thought because I'm a big critic
you criticize you
Yeah.
want to critique y'all. It's not
Always
ready
critique.
yet. It's
Yeah.
not ready yet.
Like this shouldn't go here. Or I shouldn't use these color choices or this color palette. Or I shouldn't shade this way.
Yeah, y'all artists like that kill me. Like you should be renegade because that's why like the money combo song we had that joint done for a minute. But he's like one of those dudes that would be like the song would be perfect and be like, yo, I just bought this new piece of equipment. I'm gonna re-record it just to take like 6 seconds of air out.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, no one can count the 6 seconds of air that you took out. But he's like one of those dudes like that just killed me.
I mean, but as an artist though, I can say that we look at things a little bit differently than the average person. So you all might not see the mistake that's there, but it could be the smallest thing, and we will point it out.
Now the thing is, I get it because I used to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I just understand everybody's frustration with me.
Yeah.
When I was rapping, I used to be like, yo, okay, this song is perfect, but I could redo this beat. Like, I could add another kick. I could add a different sample and make this beat sound this. And like, if we turn up the vocals a half an inch, I think it'll be sound better. They be like, so you want us to go and pay for more time in the studio to do that? Yeah.
But I think things like that though it helps manifest prosperity, within yourself. Because if you're going back constantly critiquing your own work and you're not just satisfied with the first product, then I feel like that's what helps you become better at your craft and your skill.
I can agree to that. Yeah, this is a great conversation. This is a great conversation. Do you have any other like big art exhibitions planned for this summer or anything?
At the moment, no, because I'm mainly gonna be working on my art exhibition for my senior show. But I was interested in just possibly trying to set up even more interviews and stuff like that. I did have my advisor tell me that she would be interested in possibly doing getting me involved in another mural with me being the lead artist again. So I might potentially do that. But at the moment, there's no confirmed things yet.
Yo, I think your work is super dope. We definitely I'm gonna probably look on your Instagram and stuff and do like a little video package and stuff. With your contact information and stuff. But I think what you're doing is like super dope.
Thank you.
Like I think that's hot. We're gonna get into a little because we did the show early, so I was gonna have a new mix for y'all, but I don't. So we're gonna play the mix from last week, which pay attention because at the bar radio, I actually have a DJ. Shout out to my DJ Grip. Find him on IG, DJ Grip 202. I send him a list of indie music on a weekly basis, and he mixes it for me. We're one of the very few shows we don't just play indie music; we actually mix the indie music, and all these artists that you hear, and this can be found on my Spotify at the bar playlist. So, and I also post that. So we support nothing but indie artists here. Here's a DJ Grip mix, and we'll be right back in a little bit. Shout out to my girl Debria. This is my shit right here. Imagine that. A song called I'm a Lush. And it's at the bar. My name's 151, and this is my favorite song. Just think about that for a second. Good job. Great job. Very well spoken.
Very well spoken,
Very well spoken. You just don't know how many rappers I get up here and they freeze. You start looking at the camera. Tell me about your song. Your song. It's hot. It's good. Okay, bye. Let's sing you go. Oh yeah. just to let y'all know, Renegade tonight will be in the battle for his life. We're doing a contest tonight, and Renegade will be performing, and you will have a chance to win $1,000. So we're performing tonight at the March Madness. Um, we're at the Art House, 4800 Stamp Road, Temple Hill. So Renegade's performing, but some of my other peoples are performing too. Uh, Shout out to my man Warfare J, he's performing. Shout out to my man Black Woodson is performing. Oh, and definitely it's gonna be hot. Bills is performing too. And shout out to my man Buddha Baby, he performed. Oh, and my man Super Cool Cat is performing. Woo! Like for real. It's a March Madness contest, but for real, this is gonna be like one of the best indie concerts you don't want to miss. That's what I'm saying. So we got some heavy hitters going to be in the joint. K-Mac Knoxville will be performing as well. Oh my boys, Rockstars performing. Killer Keisha will be performing as well. And we will be at 4800 Stamp Road, Temple Hills, Maryland, the Art House. And Renegade will be performing too as well. You know how we do. Come on. I think I know the guy who made this song. The Indie Mix brought to you by DJ Grip, IG DJ Grip 202. You know what it is, Mr. 151 at the bar radio. Come on. I think all broke people hate this song right here.
Do you do a lot of interviews with Renegade?
Awesome,
I'm
actually.
trying to think. He just asked me, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, hold on, yeah. I don't see him doing any interviews.
We've done some, but not a lot though. Sometimes he
interview him. I got the interview ready. He's so awesome. He makes me feel like I'm about to skin. Smack somebody. Because he's like so short. And he's a really good like oh, it's reggae. Alright. Am I playing to sit down right now?
Yep.
How long does this mix? How long does the mix?
I can shut the mix off at any time.
Huh?
I can shut it off at any time.
I like the song.
No, take your time. It's a 14-minute mix. We're 6 minutes in.
This is the actual part of why I like to look at the bottom. I like to listen to the music.
Come on. You know how it is. Mr. 151, the sexiest internet radio DJ with a comic book hat. What? Come on. What up, Sergeant Q? Come on.
Right, maybe I'll have to. I'm so used to. I don't know. I need a camera.
Yeah, go ahead. You can still see your hat.
Stupid. Stupid.
I get it. Come on. What up? Well, this is a Chantel Marie. She's from out Philly.
I just need a TV right there so I can see myself.
See what she's doing, fellas? This is why I have a bald head. We ain't gotta do all that. The head on the go.
Gotta have it. Is this fine? This on? Is the hat this way or this way? This way? It's better. Hi, people.
See, I gotta stretch this every week, y'all. I actually really have a DJ. Like, I don't have a playlist dude. A playlist dude is a dude that just makes a playlist and sits behind his computer and he thinks that he can DJ. And that's not DJ. That's playing a playlist. A DJ actually motivates your party, gets your people to dance. That's why you hear the scratching and the mixing and stuff. I swear CC just wants to be a rapper.
I really do. Let me just do the ad-libs.
she's the P Diddy, the female P Diddy. She's gonna ad-libs.
Let me just do the ad. Take that. We got over.
So what up? We back with the mix. I cut the mix short. We got the female P Diddy.
Take that.
the very busy, very knowledgeable CC. So the last time we did an interview, my late partner Black Joe, he called me right after the interview and was like, "Yo, who is that? So she was amazing. She talked good." I was like, "Oh yeah, this is my homegirl, CC."
Oh man.
But he was so thrilled. He was like, "Man, the next time you have her on the show, I want to be there." I was like, "Cool." Unfortunately, he passed away in May, but as always, I dedicate all my shows to him. That was my dude. He actually helped me get my foot back, put my foot in the internet radio, and then we've been going forward ever since. But
That's so sad.
well, he's the type of dude that wouldn't want us to mourn his passing, but rather enjoy the life that we have. That's what makes the most of it.
That's true. That's
So,
a good thing.
So we got a lot to talk about. Man, where should we start at?
Where do we start?
So I guess we start at the thing that I don't want to forget.
Oh gosh.
The conference.
Whew. Well, you know what? With all of this COVID-19 stuff that's going on, I still am slated to have my Keep Your Head Up Women's Conference, which is scheduled for April 26th. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really not interested in canceling it at this time. So right now it's still scheduled. I'm just hoping that this virus does what it needs to do, it moves through, and we can kind of go back to regular scheduled programming.
So this is your second one, right?
This will be the second Keep Your Head Up conference.
I'm so proud of you for that. 'Cause, I think we talked before, and you was about to do your first one, right?
Yeah, the last interview that we did, that
Yeah.
was for my first one, and I was so nervous. I was like super excited to have a second year where people called for it and the women wanted it. And, you know, we had guys at the conference
I didn't know that.
kind of trickle in. Not the gay guys either, and it's nothing wrong with that because I have a lot of gay friends who supported me on
Yeah.
this, but I told them that they couldn't come because they weren't women. And if I knew that there were going to be so many men that were interested in the things that we were talking about, I would have probably made it open to everyone. So
basically, you have to transition this.
Next year, we're gonna make it a Keep Your Heads conference for everybody. I'm prepared to do that.
And that's dope. I think one of the greatest conversations, I think our last conversation, which I enjoyed a lot, was we talked about mental health, Black people and mental health.
Yes.
You know, and I really think Black people are afraid of that word. I mean, they're getting better, but I still think we think there's something wrong with like talking about our problems, and we've been conditioned to always keep it in.
We have, and you know, it definitely is a stigma. And I think when we go back to even how, you know, we were brought over here in terms of being slaves,
Yeah.
and how we were suppressed from being able to speak about some of the things that we were going through. It was, you know, you shut up, you be quiet, you just go with the flow. And I think over time it's this cycle that is just kind of
like it's a generational cycle that's taught. Like,
exactly.
You know, because you gotta, when I was little, if you went to a shrink or a psychiatrist or a therapist, you must be crazy.
Yep.
And it was looked on as a bad thing.
Yep.
But you know, and I share this because I'm not afraid or anything like that. When we were younger, me and my brother were off the chain, and my mother took us to a psychiatrist, and it helped us a lot because we were living in New York, and then we were moved to Virginia, and that was a whole culture shock in itself.
Yeah.
And we had a very big house. We had a back door, a side door, and a porch door.
Okay.
And we had a backyard and a front yard. And you know, and then we were stuck in a townhouse.
Oh, so things changed dramatically.
That's a dramatic shock for us.
Yeah.
We went from a place where everybody knew our name like Cheers to who are these people?
Yep.
So
you guys would have needed to talk through that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We acted out a lot.
Yep.
And one of the reasons we acted out a lot was because it was a culture shock.
Yes. It was a transition.
And if you're born in New York, you think New York is the center of the universe, which it is, by the way.
We do tend to think that, right? Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you're crazy. And so I hate when people use this word. And so just to be clear for everyone, you know, I was working in mental health for the past 2 years. And after getting my doctoral in psychology, it just was important for me to be able to go back into the community where I came from, you know what I mean, and be able to kind of shed some light on what's real, you know. And crazy is a term that we use so loosely, but you know, you're not crazy because you just need somebody to talk to with a different perspective than yours that can kind of enlighten you and also give you some emotional validation. And so I find that, you know, even with our relationships and how we deal with each other, you know, and couples, whether it be, you know, family members, we don't know how to validate people's emotions, and we don't really understand why we should do that. And those are the type of resources and tools that you get from being able to sit down and talk to someone who is trained to be able to help you with that, you know. So I enjoy it.
As a Black man, I can say this: we're conditioned to hold on to stuff.
Oh gosh.
So, and I think I don't remember if I don't remember. I may have said this on the last show. One of the things was, and I remember salute to Chef Rock. But I remember I went with him to a thing out in Union Temple, a men's group, because he was going through some things. And I was like, yeah, I'll be there to support you, whatever. And I remember a guy looking at me, he said, "You all right?" I said, "I'm just here to support him." He said, "No, are you all right?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm never all right." So we had a conversation, and he was just like, "Yo, you've been in pain for a long time," and I was like, "You're right." And I had been carrying the pain of losing my grandmother for like 2 to 3 years at this point.
Woo, man.
And I didn't realize how the way I talked and how I reacted to people was because I was walking around in pain.
Yep.
And even as I got an adult, when certain people I met, re-met or rediscovered back in life through Facebook or social media, or whatever, I actually apologized to someone and be like, "Yo, you know what? You were probably." I never had a girl that she was loving me to death, and I probably treated her like crap. And I apologized, and I said, "You know what? You were trying to love somebody that just couldn't be loved," and I was like, I was going through some things personally that there was nothing you could have did that anybody could have did, because at that point I was just angry and I was holding on, and I was taught to hold on to pain.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I just felt such a burden. I felt a release when I was able to really let it go. I was in pain because my grandmother died. I felt like that was the only person that really understood me. She left me. How could she leave me? It's like my whole plan was literally to graduate high school and move back to New York.
Yeah.
My grandmother came to see me walk in '93 in June, and she passed away in August.
Wow.
So it was just a lot. And without that, like I said, I just held it.
Yeah.
Because that's what we were taught as a man. Oh, you just hold on to stuff, hold on to stuff. Thing is, you can't move forward if you keep carrying the same luggage.
Exactly. That's so true. And the other point that I try to get a lot of women to be able to, realize as it relates to dealing with or having a man, right, is that we want men to be more vulnerable. And the best way that you can do that is to not make them feel like shit or to throw it back in their face when you're mad, right?
Because it's true.
And you spit out their vulnerability to you, the thing that they told you in confidence, you know what I mean? And then when you get upset for a breakup or whatever happens, an argument, and then you do a low blow and you hit him, and then that closes a man right back up, and he's just not willing to be able to talk to or want to communicate with a woman in that way, because that's how he's seen women respond and react when he's being vulnerable. So I try to make sure that I stress that out too. And you made a good point. When we're grieving, we don't really know how to process that or deal with it. And sometimes and everybody is affected in your family. Typically, when you have a matriarch,
Yes.
like a grandmother passing, right? And so you may want to have a conversation, but you don't want to feel burdened to, maybe talk to your mom, right? About it, because that's her mom that passed away. And they may grieve differently,
Yeah.
So being able to just sit down and talk to someone a little different that knows what to say, because a lot of times strangers off the street or your friends, they may not know what to say,
Definitely.
So it's always good to be able to go and chit chat. I know in my office, it's pretty fun, pretty cool.
Yeah. That's so. Can people reach out to you since you are a licensed therapist?
Yeah, they can. So they can reach out to me via Facebook, via Instagram, Psychology Today. I'm listed. Therapy for Black Girls, I'm on there. I've been featured in a couple of local things that have been going on. So the Maryland Park and Recreational Center, I'm a resource for them. I'm a resource now with Monumental Sports. I work with a local sports team in the DMV. So people generally can have access to me. I try not to give any type of mental health advice, but I will say when people are having a rough day, I find that people that I don't even talk to on a regular basis may, just reach out to me via Facebook, and I'm like, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here, and I talk to them, or I'll text with them. And then I may not ever hear from that person ever again, but I'm okay with that, because that could be the difference between
Sometimes
them.
you just need somebody to vent.
Exactly. That's not going to say anything, that's not going to judge you. And I think that's really important. And so
I think that's super important. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. So, I remember you were coaching at one point. You were coaching little boys basketball.
Yeah, I stopped doing that though because I have a practice now, so I gotta indulge into my practice. I think ultimately about I want to be the best at what I do.
Yes.
And you cannot be the best. And I get what people say when they say, "Oh, I just want to do everything." And a jack of all trades is a master of nothing to me.
That's true.
And so for me, I want to be the best that I can be in terms of this field. So I had to cut off a lot of things. And when you're an entrepreneur and you're opening your own business, things change drastically with how you can use your time. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Cool. So, what do you do for the sports, the DC sports team?
So I am a therapist, one of the many therapists on the team, for the players and
Okay.
for the coaching staff, for the top of the chain all the way down to the bottom. So I'm there, but primarily my focus was to come in and to work with the players, and if they need to. And what I will say is the NBA has moved to trying to really focus on mental health. And
That's a good thing.
yeah,
I think like a lot of sports, we don't focus on that because sports is almost like the military when you think about it.
yes,
They tear you down to build you back up,
they do.
and some people are okay with that,
Yep,
and some people never recover,
yep.
and um, and some people just need to talk about it and get an understanding, and to release that because we assume if someone yells at you, they hate you.
Yeah, yeah. And some people need that discipline too, though.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But and so some of the things that I can talk about, right, is when I'm working with, people that are making, all of this money, like millions of dollars and this fame that they've attained, it's really taxing on your mental. And social media doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
It can either really make someone's mental go like their head goes this big, and then you kind of got to bring it right back here when they go through some issues, or it can make someone feel really small that is like very successful.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things that I will say that is a challenge is they're real people too. They are real individuals that have really good hearts, and have really good intentions, but then you have to kind of take away some of those layers. They go through relationship issues just like the rest of us. Some of them struggle with their identity sexually. Some of them, when they get hurt, after you get hurt, it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do with myself? They have sisters, mothers that have passed away, and they're trying to grieve and figure out how to do that in private.
Yes.
So they have their share of challenges. And I will say one of the things that I've been able to learn or to see, the one thing that I love about my job is I get to be a part of someone's growth, right? It's a thankless business. For sure. Like, I could never tell you the people that I work with unless they said something, and that's very rare because people are still a little embarrassed. Yeah, exactly. But with HIPAA regulations, I can never say it. However,
I know about HIPAA regulations. I work in the hospital.
So I can't be saying who, what.
Can't be saying that. She said too much already.
Yes, right. But the good thing about it is that, when you get to see them get out of that moment of depression or get out of that, the relationship that was really bad, and then now it's like a really great, and you've been a part of that success. That's really fulfilling. So that is a good thing.
I mean, the thing about it is I don't want to come out the wrong way, but helping people is such a thankless job.
Yeah, it is.
Because, like, you go to feed the homeless. You don't really expect anything outside of what you're doing. You're just doing it to do it.
Yeah.
It's it's a thankless job, and it's and you're helping people with their mentals, like I think, because you can't brag about it. And the thing is, in this social media age, where we always have to brag, there's a lot of things that should be done in private.
Yes. Speak on it.
I think one of the biggest my biggest pet peeve is social media. I don't care if it's Facebook, IG, Snapchat, Twitter. Is not your relationship battleground. You got an issue with your partner, y'all should discuss it in private, or go seek a therapist.
Well, hold on.
Yes.
Well, what do you mean when you say relationship battleground? Like, you mean when somebody makes a post and they're just what? Give me an example.
Well, I mean, I see people who do things as in, oh, I hate my spouse,
Oh, okay.
and they want to fight with them all through. Like, I mean, it's just to me. Like I seen, like one of my god kids did that.
They said they hated somebody online.
They said they hated their spouse. It
Oh.
was like,
Could
hey,
their spouse see it?
probably so. So I was like, hey, you should probably take this down. I love you. You want to talk? Here's my number. We can call. You know, but I mean that's just me.
I agree with you in terms of the best person to communicate an issue with is the person that you have the issue with. I agree with you there. What I will say is that we can't prevent or stop people from how they choose to
do
vent,
it. Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna happen.
It's just like letting people and being, and so one thing that I really get confused or conflicted with about Facebook, you know, and how you're supposed to be my Facebook friend. If I vent something saying, you know, oh my God, my husband just cheated on me, I'm like, you know, upset and I'm livid. The thing to say to me probably isn't going to be, take this post down. You know what I mean? Like, why did you post that? It should be more of a supportive approach and love. Like, are you guys good? Like, here's my therapist, you know, here's my story that I went through. And I think we use social media platforms in the wrong way in that regard.
I think I agree with that. That's true. I think it may be done wrongly.
Yeah. We do it from a place of judgment, and it's not really good. You know, when you see someone with a post, you know,
we need to be like Planet Fitness, judgment free.
Exactly. I mean, if we're Facebook friends with somebody, because eventually they'll take the post down.
Yeah.
That's always what happens, in spite of whether or not a person, you know, does it because they're tired of the blowback from it, right? You know what I'm saying? But eventually they take the post down. We have to let people go through their processes and respect that. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we call them friends. Yes. So that would be my only reason why I would disagree.
That's cool. I mean, that is the great thing about the conversation. We can respectfully agree to disagree. Yeah. And my opinions don't make me 100% right. I'm not a licensed therapist.
And my opinions don't make me 100% right either. Whether or not I'm licensed. I mean, it doesn't make me right because, and I have psychologists that disagree, you know, and think that people should be private, you know. But I think when you're living your truth and you're being authentic, I think that is the best thing that you can do on social media. You know, is just be yourself. And when you're out here in this world, you know, just being yourself is the best thing that you can do to live a really fulfilled and happy life.
I can agree to that.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that someone hears this conversation that may need help or something like that, and they definitely want to reach out to you and stuff like that. And once again, where can they find you on like IG or Facebook or whatever?
Yes, they can find me on Instagram at RM Thompson and Co. It's RM Thompson with a PANDCO. RM Thompson and Co. And then they can find me on Facebook, which is Rochelle Thompson. And I have my little Facebook page, which is Rochelle Thompson as well. And Twitter is really ratchet. So Twitter is for me. That's my boundary. Twitter is my boundary place. So don't come there looking for no therapist, because that's not what's happening on Twitter for me. Okay, Twitter is where I get to talk about people. That's what I like to do sometimes in my own personal mind. I get to talk about my dates that go wrong. You know, I get to talk about conversations that have happened with people, and I'm like, I know I was right on this. Like, I am ratchet. I'm bougie ghetto on Twitter. So if you follow me, do not follow me talking about Dr. Rody. No, I don't want to hear none of that. It's not going down like that.
Not on Twitter.
Not on Twitter. Twitter is my place of privacy and peace.
Yeah, y'all notice how her voice changed when she got to Twitter?
Because I need people to get it. Like, that's how I am on Twitter. Now, everywhere else, during the day, and for the most part, I'm very much so very melodramatic. I think most people know that. Like, that doesn't change. And even in my sessions, I still am true to myself. But I think, you know, when I'm having a conversation, I think it's good to be poised and all of that stuff. But Twitter is hood. It goes down in the hood.
So, y'all don't test her. So, back in the days, after I first met her, she like hosted an event, and then I was working at Sports Authority, and then like a few weeks later, she came in the store buying some boxing gloves. It's like, what you doing here, Cece? Oh, just getting some boxing gloves.
I love the box. That's so fun.
So she was about that life. I'm just gonna let y'all know that.
Still am to this day. Good. But you know what? It's a time and place for all of that.
She had some pink boxing gloves.
Yeah. Yeah. I got black ones now.
Oh, so now she's a thug.
Yeah, I'm a gangster.
See?
And when I listen to Renegades, Stay True, that was my favorite song. And now I can't listen to it no more, but whatever.
We'll bring it back. Maybe a different beat, but we'll bring it back.
It made me feel like I could beat up anybody. That was my.
Oh, so you saying renegade music promotes violence?
Well, let the church say amen.
Amen.
That's what it did for me. Okay, I'm not here to lie, but I love Renegade for that. It made me motivated and it made me feel strong. Is what I'm saying.
Also, I do appreciate, like, one of the things is I appreciate about you is that you support the podcast even when you're not on, and I love that you support Renegade. And actually, when we did put out the Money Combo single available for digital download, you're one of the first people that hit us say, hey, you know, I have iTunes, is it there? And then we sent you the link and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, I'm with that. I love what you do. I love the work that you do. The thing is, you will put yourself on fire just so the independent artists could stay warm. And you know, you really are about this life. And that really like encourages me to be able to do, you know, and stay persistent. You know what I mean? Because I really watch you, and you're about perfection, and you want to help other people get on. You know, you want to help the city. So I can only applaud anybody.
Well, my whole thing is like, because I've been an independent artist, so, and when you don't have no direction, it's you don't know where to go. It's like you have a GPS, and you just standing there wondering. So what I try to do is I give a platform, and then also when I do talk to these artists, I don't know the difference between, you know, having your stuff on Spinrilla and having your stuff on Spotify, and then and then when you have your stuff, invest in yourself and stuff like that. So, you know, I do my best to try to give some of the knowledge because if you don't have knowledge, I mean, knowledge is the most powerful thing that you can have.
Come through with the word.
So, you know, knowledge puts you in positions to win no matter what situation you're in.
Absolutely.
If you don't have the knowledge, then you're just going to be you're just going to be there to lose. Absolutely. So that's why I try to give so much knowledge. And I've been blessed to have people in my life that gave me knowledge.
Yes.
So, you know, the thing is, I'm a big fan of The Secret. So you have to pass that knowledge on as well.
Yes, yes. So. That was free.
That was free.
Y'all can cash app him the tithes and offering though. He gave you that free word of God right there. But that's real. I mean, and I was just making a joke about it, but I was kind of like dead serious because I'm like, with this COVID-19 and all this craziness and all that, and Sally Mae been calling me, and I'm like, look, you know, y'all can come get this degree. Come take all these degrees back. I don't need none of them no more.
Next time Sally Mae calls you, you should tell her because of COVID-19 has put everything on hold, so my payments on hold.
No, they just want you to pay the whole thing up front. They want their money now. I'm like, no, I'm good with the way that I'm paying at this moment. I don't want to pay the whole thing. And if y'all keep on talking to me crazy, I'm going to just give you the degrees back. And I already got the knowledge, so I don't care. I'm good. So
oh my God. Y'all, you know, the funny thing about education is not free.
Yeah.
And then after you get the education, they want their money. They ain't wait for you to be a success. They want their money now.
Up front.
I remember when I went to I think it was like broadcasting school or something I went to, and I still owed money for it. And like they called me like for like years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, well, can you just send something? It's like, I'm broke. What part don't you understand? The I am or the broke part.
The I am or the broke part. The broke part. That's the part they don't understand. You got your degree, so why you still broke? We want our money.
Like, we want our money. It was the bride. It was the bride. They wanted their money. And the sad part was that, you know, I was young and ignorant, so I didn't finish the bride. I remember what happened was, I'm dyslexic.
Okay.
So I struggle with basic math.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I can't count, y'all. Don't get it twisted. But then they would give me calculus. I had never taken calculus, but I would pass calculus.
Yeah.
And they couldn't figure it out. So what happens is when you have dyslexia or learning disability, you can be good at one thing and be bad at another. I read on a college level.
Very good.
When I was like in 12th grade. So I've always read higher, but then my math, that's why my dyslexia hit me at. But then they gave me like calculus. I never did calculus. And they was like, well, how did you get all the calculus problems right? But you messed up on the basic math. I was like, look, I'm dyslexic. And this is my breaking point. It's just I have one kryptonite weakness and one sore spot. The the counselor told me, he was a black guy, and he told me, he said, "Well, I looked at your transcripts, and it said it doesn't really say you have dyslexia. It doesn't. It says you have a learning disability, but I don't know if you really have dyslexia." And I lost it. And I said, "So what do you think?" I said, "Dude, I wake up every morning. I gotta work twice as hard." I said, "Look, I'm a manager of a store," and I said, "I don't even have a short-term memory, to be honest with you. Like, I work twice as hard to do things that you do on a normal basis. For you to approach me like that and to say like I'm lying about something," I said, "I've been in learning disability classes when I was young. I've been left back. Like, don't you ever just disrespect the struggle I've been through."
Wow.
I cussed that man out.
Well, the cussing out part I can't agree with, but everything else sounds powerful.
So, and I remember the dean called me and he was like, "Well, we want you to come back into school." And I was like, "Let me explain to you how I feel." I was like, I feel like if he was a white guy and he called me the N word, that's how angry I am.
Woo.
I said, because I wouldn't lie about something like this. Like, I've really been through a struggle. I said, you don't know what it's like to have kids tease you and tell you LD stands for little dummy as you work in the store now and they trying to get an application to make $5 an hour.
Wow.
And you're the manager because you overcame everything.
Wow.
And I said, for him to do that, and it just, my pride didn't let me go back, which I should have went back because I had to pay that money anyway. So
they want their money.
They want their money no matter. They like the speech, but they still wanted their money at the end of the day.
But it's the thing that the trigger, because this is a good conversation about triggers. But in not being able to like really say it, but that hurt your feelings.
It pissed me off.
Piss, fear, anger.
It also was red.
But it hurt.
It hurt, yeah. It because it made me feel like, especially coming from another black man, it made me feel like you didn't appreciate the struggle, what it's like for me. And if I'm telling you I have these things, like that's not. Don't nobody go, "Oh well, hey y'all, I'm dyslexic."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's a fight on a daily day basis.
Right.
Like a person who deals with mental health, you understand it's a fight on a day. If you have anxiety, it's a fight to get out of bed.
Yes.
And people didn't understand. Like, I would literally, at this time in my life, if I was doing something and I put my box cutter down and you said Rakeem and pulled me over there, I'd have to come back, stand where I was, think about it, and if I thought it was on my right side, that means it's on my left because that's how my dyslexia affected me.
Right.
I would have people like, "What are you looking for?" I was like, "I'm looking for my box cutter." I was like, I don't see a box cutter. I was like, "Hold on one second." I said, "My mind tells me it's on my right, so it's on my left." And they'd be like, "Well, how do you do that?" I was like, "It's just, it's a struggle, but it's how you do to cope with certain things."
Yeah.
And it really, like, I probably have never been that angry in a very long time.
Wow. But see, this is a good thing that we're talking about and having this conversation because, it's important to wear your truth, and then and because when you don't, and then, you just pop off, then people don't understand, like, what? Like, why do you just act out like that? But, because you're owning your truth, I'm like, hey, this is what I had to go through and it's a struggle. And I feel, and the only thing that I would say is when people talk about their feelings, that they say exactly what they feel. I feel some kind of way is not a feeling. I feel like they da 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 da. That's not a feeling. Actually using the words to be able to communicate.
I felt really upset. I was really pissed off. I felt like cussing him out. I was angry.
I felt angry.
And you got all that.
I felt disappointed. I felt hurt. Those are real feelings.
I don't even remember if I cussed him out at my job on the phone or I was like, "Hold on, I'll be down there."
Did he apologize?
I didn't want to hear his apology at that point. Like I was that upset. Right. I felt angry. I mean, at other time in my life to make me that mad, like even if I would have walked in, he'd have been like, "I'm sorry," I'm like, "Shut the hell up."
Yeah.
Because I was that hot. Like I was that upset.
Yeah. And that's real. Because you don't know what people are going through. So we got to be really, really mindful about how we talk to people and the things that we have to think before we speak. I think that that's really important. And acknowledging people who, when they get angry, knowing what your triggers are is very important. And that's something that I'm kind of really, really big on. And so one of my support groups that I have once a month on Sundays is we talk about different topics. so that way we can understand a little bit more. Because when you know what your triggers are, then you know how to deal with them, you know how to cope with them,
Yes.
so you don't overreact. You know what I mean? You know how to be able to fully communicate to someone and let them know and explain to them, hey, you're crossing a line with me. So I think that's really good. And anger is another thing that we talk about too. You know, a lot of times people don't realize anger is an emotion that comes from other emotions. Typically, hurt
Yeah.
is one of those.
Oh,
So
yeah.
gotta be real, when we say that. And for people, it's really hard to say, no, that hurt my feelings. So they just kind of already just directly go to, I'm angry. Why? Why are you angry? What made you angry about it? Because it hurt. Because I have to work harder than everybody. Because I have to, I had a real legitimate struggle, and they took that for granted. And because I was teased growing up. And so that just reminded me of those things that people said. And so it hurt my feelings. And that is what made me angry.
Yeah.
So
So
that was deep. That was good.
it's deep conversation.
Well, I'm about to pay you.
But and needless to say, they still got their money.
Right. All in all, they still gonna get their money.
All in all, the bride still got their money. They played a good waiting game because they got that paper out. 1 year after that, a tax return. We got that.
But how do you feel about that? Do you think that people need to go to school in order to, accomplish their dreams and goals? Like, how do you feel after you've been through that process?
It all depends on what you want to do. I mean, sometimes school is not for everybody.
Okay.
But at the same time, if you want to further your education, there's nothing wrong with that. We have a lot of store managers, and we don't have enough doctors. We don't have enough black doctors. We don't have enough black engineers. So if you want to go to school and do stuff like that, definitely follow that dream. Um, success is doing what you're good and what you're happy in and what you enjoy.
Agreed.
So, of course, the one time I do a radio show, early in the day, everybody's calling me. So, um, success is something is doing what you're happy at. And when you're going, you can have $1 million job but hate going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You won't be successful.
Amen. Won't. Another free word at the bar radio.
That's what we do.
What's your cash app?
151 Rocky.
Tithes and offering today. Jesus, you
so
on a roll.
You have to find something that you're happy at.
Yes.
Like my last year, I did retail for 20 years, and my last job in retail was at Staples, and I hated it. I hated the company. I hated the staff. I hated the person I worked for.
Oh, you telling the truth.
And I took a job making less money and struggling to pay my bills, but I felt better about myself.
Mm.
And then eventually I found a job in which had more purpose.
Wow.
So that's how I wound up being in healthcare and housekeeping and stuff like that. So, I really enjoy what I do now. I'm like an operations manager for housekeeping. So I really enjoy it. There was a time where I did enjoy retail, but as the people who I was working for, and I would just get up there and he's like, yeah, I hate coming here.
Yeah.
And I was making good money. I just hated going there.
Yeah.
And then my manager, I hated him.
Yeah.
He made the mistake of pissing me off one day. I cussed his ass out too. So, and when it got to that point,
we got a pattern, folks. He cusses people out when he's mad.
Yeah, that's a given. But when it got to that point where I had to cuss him out, and that was like the first straw, which you know what, I don't want to be here anymore.
Mm.
When I got to the second straw, I think he was crying about something, and I was like, I said, what you're saying doesn't make sense. And I said, unlike everybody else, I've been in your position, so I know what you're telling me is wrong.
Mm.
So then, we clashed on that. And then the third point was it was mandatory. I just worked Saturday night, but it was mandatory for us to be there for Easter. And I came in Easter morning after closing Saturday night. I was the first person there. And what got me was I was the last person to leave. And I said, oh, okay. That's cool. This is what's going to happen. And on that same day, I wrote my resignation.
Wow. Do you think that, looking back in retrospect, that there's anything that you could have done differently?
not take their job.
Well, there's that. But in those situations,
In
do you
those
think that
situations,
maybe there were some ways that you could have communicated differently, led
he
differently?
he had his own ways and his own people. And the one thing about it, like retail management is like this, especially if you're a new manager.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that made me look at him different is one of his employees was talking to his manager. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And me and this employee got into an argument. And he had hired this employee that had been with him for a while. Me and this employee got into an argument. And I told the employee, well, you need to go home. Like, you can't do what I said, go home. He was like, you need to get out of my face so we can go outside.
Mm.
I replied to him like, dude, you can go outside. We can go outside, don't make a difference.
Right.
Understand something, like, I can make you leave one or two ways. Like, I can get security, I can call the cops on how you would leave. Or, dude, you may scare those other people. I'll be honest with you, I'm from the streets, just like you a dude that fix computers. You ain't really from the streets. I'll slap you just as easy as I slap another person if you really wanted to take it that route.
You heard that, Geek Squad?
But my thing was, the dude got suspended. He should have been terminated because the minute he threatened the manager.
Right.
The funny thing is, when I come back to work, or even before I got back to work, the manager called me and said, well, were you picking on him?
Right.
And I said, you know how this dude talks to people.
Right.
I just talk to him the way he talks to them that you don't correct. He can't talk to me that way if I'm his boss.
Right.
And he shouldn't be allowed to talk to your other managers that way. I can't speak up for them.
Yeah.
Every time he talks to me like that, it's going to be a problem. I don't play that. I don't play that. The level of disrespect. Now, if I ask you to do something, you're going to tell me no? Okay, cool. Go punch out and go home. That's an easy solution. I ain't afraid to work.
How come in that moment, and I find that this is something that we all do, is that we get disrespected and then we never really have set a boundary up front with people to tell them what is disrespectful about what they're doing.
He knew he was
We always say that people know what they're doing. But did you ever have a conversation with him, like just on one-on-one, like, hey, as a man, I just want to let you know, this is what you're doing, the way that you're talking and how you're saying it and communicating to me is not going to work. And if you continue to do this moving forward, it's going to be a problem. And then so you give them a boundary and then communicate that boundary to them. Did you do that?
I had given him plenty of chances because we've had prior conversations.
And you told him,
and I told him,
don't talk to me crazy.
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
All right. Well, you know what,
folks, we had those conversations.
I'm signing off.
Because I will let you know, be like, hey, you know what? You need to calm down.
Yeah.
Boom. If I said something, and if I say something to offend you, you say, hey, you're offending me. I'll say, okay, you know what? I didn't mean to. Let me dial it down.
You will?
Yes.
Oh.
I had a conversation with somebody, and they said something to offend me, and I looked at him, and he said, you know, I need to change my tone. I said, that's the right answer. And we had a peaceful conversation. And if I say something in a tone that you don't like, you can say, hey, Rakeem, you coming at me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, you know what? I thought about it. Like, I did that with one of my employees.
Yeah.
Like, somebody made me mad. Actually, I was dating a girl. She pissed me off. And my assistant manager asked me a question, and I laughed out. He was like, yo, you just screamed on me. And I was like, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
That's good. So do you think that you could have did anything different during your time at Staples before you had?
No, I hated Staples.
No. Just not have accepted the offer.
Yeah. I mean, this first store that I was training at, it was good when I hated that Staples. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
So the first store I was at was good. The second store, they kept putting me in different stores to fix different problems. The second store was okay. The third store, which was supposed to be my home store, was terrible because it was mismanaged how you talk to people.
Yeah.
See, one of the things is, and I learned this in management, it's your relationship with people.
Amen.
So
that's another free word at the bar radio.
If you build good relationships with people, people will do certain things for you.
Agreed.
Like, even at my job, I got everything from Africans to Spanish to regular blacks.
Regular blacks. What's a regular black?
It's a non-African black.
Okay.
So, but if we have good relationships and communicate with each other, they'll do just for me. Like,
Agreed.
even though I don't speak Espanol, they'll, you know, if I build a relationship with them, they'll work hard for me.
Right.
And it's not me overly being aggressive towards them. It's just building relationships.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that. Like I used to be a paper dangler. Yo, if you don't do this, I'm just gonna write you up. And that's not teaching or coaching people.
Yeah.
So they're not learning. So if you don't teach them what not to do, then how can you expect them what not to do?
Hey.
So and that works for me too because I had to have somebody do that to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn that till I was like working at a bank and I was like, oh well, damn, this is what I've been doing for years. That's bad management. I thought I was a good manager.
Yeah.
I was a bad manager because I was a paper dangler and I wasn't coaching my people to be great. It's one thing to say, okay, you did something wrong. Don't just tell them, show them what they did wrong, and then help them do something better.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where I'm at now with things. It's like, and I got several books up there, so we got this thing called Foundations that they send ops managers to. But one of the things they talk about is being a servant leader.
Hey, I love that word. That's what I talk about.
Being a servant leader, and this is how I view good leadership. Like, I can have a person on the 5th floor and be like, I need paper towels. Most managers will say, well, you need to come down here and get them.
Mm-hmm.
Me, you'll call me and be like, I need paper towels. Okay, what floor are you on? What room are you in? Let me just bring them to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a second for me to go up there to bring you the paper towels and come down. So when I do stuff like that, you appreciate it more.
That's true. That's exactly how it should work.
So that's servant leadership. And I got another one, I think it's like the 7 pillars of success or something like that. But it's about leadership and stuff like that. And that's how you build up on leadership.
Agreed. Agreed. It's always good talking to you. It's so refreshing.
Oh, definitely. So, anything else you want to talk about before we get away? Oh, it's actually 151. That's the time, 151.
No, I think that's a good ending point.
All right.
151.
I'm a biased person, so as I like to say, I will always promote Renegade. So we'll end this with a Renegade song. One that she's probably never heard.
That's me.
With so much too easy.
What? Come on.
I'd be mad if I don't have this song in mind.
You don't.
Damn it.
Let me release it.
See how y'all do. See how y'all do the real thing?
I can email it to you.
Thank you. As always, thank you. This is fun.
Come on. Thank you at the Bar Radio. We know your host 151. We had great guests here. You know how we do. Yeah. Come on. One of these days I'm in a good mood and I'm gonna release this on iTunes and Spotify.
Today. Make it today. I need another song. I was really hurt. I mean, you don't really know. I was really hurt.
Hey, Cece.
Huh?
I need a favor. All right, George needs me to do some work.
Mm-hmm.
So can you drop me off at what's that place? Iverson Mall?
Yeah.
Okay.
My card's right here. So you just need to go to Iverson Mall? Okay. What time you gotta be at work, sir? What time you gotta be at work? Okay. Good.
Yeah, get some pictures. I don't know why you got your stuff on. I don't know why you got your stuff on. We gotta get some pictures real quick. It's part of the process. You know how it rolls.
But we don't have a backdrop. But we have to fix that.
On the white wall.
That's not a backdrop. Alright, okay.
I'm poor. I can't afford a backdrop.
You can afford it. Damn it.
George just asked me about that today. He was like, he wants me to broadcast or interview people at the